Yes, welcome everyone, and welcome for today's session. And today we are going to look at international logistics as our topic 4 in import and export management. Yes, at the end of this session, you will be able to understand the term international logistics and the key aspects of international logistics. So let's go straight to our topic of today and let's look at international logistics. International logistics plays a crucial role in facilitating global trade and ensuring the efficient and cost-effective flow of goods between countries. So, international logistics refers to the planning, management, and coordination of the movement of goods, information, and resources across national borders. So in import and export management, you need to import goods from other countries. Then you will engage in moving these goods across the borders of these countries that you're bringing the goods from. So that term of moving this physical movement of goods is international logistics. So students need to acquire some knowledge in international logistics. So in international logistics, it encompasses a wide range of activities, including transportation, that is the physical movement of these goods, then warehousing, that is storage or storing these goods, and inventory management or management of the stock levels and management of this or keeping these goods in the good shape as they should not go bad, they should not be stolen, and the capacity. So in international logistics, you need to also engage in customs clearance of clearing these goods to the country that you are importing the goods to. Then there is also documentation of these goods. So there are various documents that are involved in international logistics, in moving this good. That's, for example, the commercial invoice, or bill of lading, or there are very many documents that are involved. We shall look at them. Then also optimizing supply chain. So what are the key components of international logistics? One, we talked about transportation. International logistics involves selecting the most appropriate transportation modes to move these goods across the borders. For example, we have the sea, we have the air, we have road or railway. So in international logistics, because you want to move these goods efficiently and cost effectively, you need to select the most appropriate transport mode that can fit to move the goods in question. So it includes tasks such as route planning or career selection. Career selection is career is the company that moves the goods, that transports the goods from one place to another. So you select the most cost-effective career or freight booking, that is for air transport, then and cargo tracking to ensure timely and secure delivery. So in transportation also you need to track your cargo, uh, its movement, where it has reached, and to evaluate its performance according to timely delivery and safety. So another aspect of the national logistics is also warehousing and inventory management. International logistics requires efficient storage and management of goods in warehouses or distribution centers because you don't want these goods to become scrap or to get damaged from these warehouses and distribution centers. So you need to apply a lot of expertise, a lot of technology eh, in handling and management of these goods at their warehouses. So this includes inventory control, then order fulfillment if if the stock is reducing, the number of goods is low, then you can make some replacement such that these goods can be replaced. Then picking and packing, then where packing these goods, then warehouses also are used for labeling. They have space for labeling the goods, and also value addition. So services can be done in the warehouses to meet the customers' demand. So international logistics, warehousing, it's a key. Another another point also, we have customs clearance. International shipments must go through customs clearance because these some of the goods are prohibited in entering in specific locations. For example, in a particular country, a country can impose strict regulations on specific goods. So during the customs clearance is when you identify that these goods cannot are not allowed in the country. Also, the customs clearance, they have the task of duty calculations, then uh, uh, the taxes that you are supposed to pay. Those are the tariffs. This is also done through the customs clearance to make sure that you clear your goods, your imported goods. Then also documentation and compliance. International logistics involves managing a variety of documents, including commercial invoices, packing list, bill of lading, customs declaration, and certificates of origin. So ensuring accurate and compliant documents is essential for customs clearance, trade compliance, and legal requirements. So the national logistics involves managing and coordinating uh, uh, documentations of a particular good or goods that are imported into the country or exported. So risk management. International logistics professionals mitigate risk associated with international shipments. So these risks such as theft or damage, delays, for example, in form of time, regulatory non-compliance. Some of these risks can cause loss for the organization or the company because the authorities can can easily confiscate the goods because of non-compliance. So they international logistic professionals implement risk management strategies such as insurance coverage to mitigate some of the risks of damage or theft, and contingency plans to minimize disruption and protect the integrity of the supply chain. So contingency plans may be in forms of setting aside some budget, some financial or budget, such that maybe if it's in form of funds that are required, they can manage to get from that budget, that plan that was or, or laid earlier. So to mitigate the risk of delays. So another point also is supply chain visibility and tracking. International logistics relies on real-time visibility and tracking capabilities to monitor the movement of goods throughout the supply chain. So this includes utilizing technology such as GPS if you want to, that is, GPS is a software that can be used to track uh, goods or to track specific item, that is global positioning system. So it is used to or in the Google Maps. So to it can track in any location. So this is another software that can be used to track shipments to and provide update status according to the movement of a specific goods. So there is also trade compliance. International logistic professionals ensure compliance with international trade regulations, trade agreements, and economic sanctions imposed by various countries or organizations. So, international logistic professionals should respect these trade agreements or all the economic sanctions those are imposed by various countries or organizations on. For example, if a country is sanctioned not to purchase a given product or a good, so it should, or the international logistics people who move these goods should respect these trade the, this these restrictions those that are imposed on this country to avoid uh, to avoid facing the law due to non-compliance, yeah, to avoid making losses, to avoid losing their reputation or bad reputation for their organization. So they stay up to date. The international logistics professionals should stay up to date with changing regulations, monitor restricted or prohibited goods, and implement internal controls to ensure adherence to legal requirements. So we go to another point, that is freight forwarding and customs brokerage. Freight forwarders and customs brokers play a crucial role in international logistics. Freight forwarders, these are the company that organizes for the shipment of the goods. So it can organize the shipment for the good, and for the carrier, they are the ones who can locate the carrier for the goods. So, in other words, they act as intermediaries, coordinating transportation, documentation, customs clearance, and other logistics services on behalf of importers and exporters, ensuring smooth cross-border operations. So, or the freight forwarding and brokers, they they act as the intermediaries in coordinating the movement of these goods across the borders. So they play a crucial role in international logistics, because international logistics you need to move these goods across borders. So these people, the freight forwarders and customs brokers, they make it easy and simple for the organizations to perform that task. So let's go on and look at the benefits of effective international logistics. So what are the benefits? a reduced cost. Efficient international logistics practices optimize transportation routes. Now, they consolidate shipments. So here you can make small units to and form only one big unit such that you can enjoy some economies of scale in terms of transportation and even in taxes because these small units you have consolidated them to form one big unit that can ease transportation. Also, it reduce international logistics. Effective international logistics minimizes inventory carrying cost. It also inventory carrying costs. These are the costs that are incurred uh, for keeping or storing inventory or stock. So another point is improve the customer satisfaction. International logistics ensures timely and reliable delivery of goods to customers. So goods will be available at any time because of effective these goods move effectively from one country to another. So goods will be available in plenty and customers will be satisfied when they go to the market and find what they want. So enhancing customer satisfaction and loyalty, brand loyalty. It will create brand loyalty for that specific good. Yes, another point will also be increase the operational efficiency. Streamlined international logistics processes improve overall supply chain efficiency, reducing lead times and optimizing inventory levels and minimizing bottlenecks. So in organizations, because goods are moved effectively, so it means that goods will be available in the organization's warehouses and in the stores. So it can also reduce uh, the bottlenecks. The bottlenecks, what I mean, a lack of raw materials in the store. So it will cause longer waiting time for these goods to arrive. So if the movement of these goods is managed effectively for the organization, it means that we workers or employees will not keep waiting longer for the goods or during the production process. The goods will be available at any time. So so this will improve the overall supply chain of the particular organization or the company. So it enhances or enhanced global market reach. So international logistics also enables businesses to expand their market reach by efficiently reaching customers in different countries. I talked about earlier that this international logistics facilitates the movement of goods across borders. So it means that goods will reach every center. Like for example, here in Juba, we are using computers, and these computers are not manufactured here in Juba or in Kampala or in Uganda. Sorry, or Kenya. They came long away from China. Others come from the US. So this is the job of international logistics. It has opened the market for this business or these companies which are producing these computers. For example, HP, that company, it has opened its global market reach. So, which in import and export management. Or international logistics, you cannot do away with the term Incoterms or what we call Incoterms. And what are Incoterms? Incoterms as an acronym of the word international commercial terms. So, international commercial terms are a set of standardized trade terms established by the International Chamber of Commerce. So, these terms they define the rights and responsibilities of buyers and sellers in international trade contracts, especially regarding the delivery of goods, transfer of risk, and allocation of cost. So in the Ecoterms, they purposely define three items. One, place or the place where these goods are, the destination of the goods. Then two, the risk involved in moving this good from the buyer to the seller. Then another part is the allocation of the cost. The cost is here we mean the transportation cost of moving these goods. Because, for example, if you're moving the goods from Mombasa from Japan to to Juba or to South Sudan, there are some international commercial terms that are attached to the terms and conditions of this transaction or this sale. So these terms can help in the other way around. So we shall look at this international commercial terms in details as we continue with our discussions. So Incoterms provide clarity. This word should be clarity. Provides clarity and reduce misunderstandings between trading parties by outlining the obligation and liabilities at each stage of the transportation process. So these Incoterms they clarify the obligations of each party. For example, the seller has his obligation under these terms, and also the buyer has its obligation. So here are the commonly used Incoterms and their application in international trade. So these Incoterms are called Incoterms 2010. They updated in 2010. So what one is X works. X works, what does it mean? Under this term, the seller makes the goods available at their premises and the buyer is responsible for all transportation arrangements, costs, and risk from that point onward. So this takes place the maximum responsibility of the buyer. So in other words, when you are undertaking this kind of ecoterm or this type of term, it means that the buyer is responsible for all the costs, the transportation costs, the risk, and the insurance from the seller's point or seller's shop or seller's premises. So if the seller is in Japan, it means that from Japan up to Juba where you're bringing these goods, you're responsible for everything. Okay, so let me hope I'm clear there. So another one is free career. Free career, what does that mean? If you have this term attached to your buy, it means that the seller delivers the goods to a carrier or another party nominated by the buyer at a specified location. The seller is responsible for export clearance, while the buyer assumes responsibility for transportation costs and risk for that point. So free career means oh, the the seller delivers the goods to the carrier that to the company that's going to transport that goods, or any person that is nominated by the buyer, and the seller will just will make export clearance to clear these goods to move. But the risk of transporting these goods, the cost of transporting these goods and the risk involved there will be on the buyer, the owner of the goods. So here we mean the owner of the goods is the buyer. This okay. So we go to another term, that is carriage paid to. Carriage paid to means that the seller arranges and pays for the transportation of goods to a named a destination, but the risk transfers to the buyer when the goods are handed over to the carrier. What does that mean? It means that oh, the seller just pays for the goods until where they are going to be offloaded or to its destination. But while moving these goods, the risk of the risk of moving this good, the risks associated in transferring these goods from the seller's place up to the buyer's destination, it's on the buyer. It means that the work of the seller here is to just pay for the transportation of these goods. Then another point is SIP, that is carriage and insurance paid to. This one is almost similar to to the previous term, but the seller also arranges and pays for insurance. So the previous one, the seller pays for transportation of these goods, but now for the ship, also the seller pays for clearance, for insurance against the buyer's risk of loss or damage during transportation. So this one is almost this one, or if you have ever imported goods like used cars from Japan, you will find some of the invoices they are attached with this kind of international term or Incoterm. See, it means that, and others they say carriage and insurance paid to up to Mombasa. So it means that the transportation and the insurance is paid up to Mombasa. So from Mombasa up to where the car is coming, if it's coming to Juba, is to be borne on you, the buyer or the owner of the car. But from Japan up to Mombasa is the seller or the company that is selling these goods. Okay, let's continue to another point. So we have DAP. DAP, that is delivered at point. Here, this term means the seller is responsible for delivering the goods to a named destination, and the risk transfers to the buyer when the goods are ready for unloading at the specified place. So here, oh, goods, the seller will be responsible for delivering these goods, yes. Oh, and payment, transportation, insurance is on the seller. But the risk of unloading this goods starts, the buyer starts from there. So this term may be attached to some complex kind of goods which needs to be unloaded carefully, and they need to be verified when unloading. So this risk now is taken to the buyer because the seller might not or one to might lack uh, the manpower to undertake that task, but the buyer can do it better because it's already at his premises. So we continue to another point, that is delivered at place and loaded. This term replaces the previous term that delivered at terminal. The seller is responsible for delivering the goods to the buyer at a named place of destination, and the risk transfers when the goods are unloaded at the place. So here, the risk of the goods transfers to the buyer when the goods are already unloaded. The previous one, when the goods are still on the carrier or on the truck or any form of. Yes. So after unloading is when the risk transfers to the buyer. So we go to DDP, that is delivered duty paid. The seller is responsible for delivering the goods to the buyer at the named place of destination, cleared for imports, and bearing all costs and risks associated with delivering the goods. So delivered duty paid, it means that the seller is responsible for everything. One, transportation cost. Two, customs clearance for imports, and all the costs that are, for example, the cost for the goods or the risks associated is also borne on the seller. So the buyer will just receive his goods at his named place. This one is most of the cases it's used by NGOs here in South Sudan, where when they are purchasing some machines, if be it generators, be it vehicles, they want these vehicles when they have already gone through the processes, the custom clearance, and they want just ready for use. So this is the term that is attached to such kind of negotiations or agreements. So we have another one is fast, that is free alongside ship. It means that the seller delivers the goods to a named port of shipment and places them alongside the vessel. The buyer assumes responsibility for loading the goods onto the vessel as well as for the subsequent transportation risk on the port. So he at this point, oh, the seller just delivers the goods to a named port of shipment and places the goods just there. So the buyer, you're responsible for for loading these goods to the vessel that you are using and moving these goods until your final destination. So all the transportation risk, the transportation cost, the risk that are associated during that transportation, they are also borne with the buyer, or the buyer is responsible for all that. Yeah, then lastly we have what we call free on board. Free on board, that is FOB. The seller is responsible for delivering the goods on board the vessel at the named port of shipment. Once the goods are loaded, the risk transfers to the buyer, who is responsible for the subsequent transportation costs and risk. So here, the seller is responsible for delivering the goods on the board and also load them. The cost of loading is also on the seller, but now the risk transfers now to the buyer and transport cost until the final destination. Then there's also another one that is CFR, that is cost and freight. Cost and freight means that the seller is responsible for arranging and paying for the transportation of goods to the named port of destination. The risk transfers to the buyer when the goods are on board the vessel. The seller is also responsible for the cost of freight to the named vessel. The risk is on the buyer, but transport arrangement for transportation of these goods using a specific vessel or a particular vessel is borne by the seller. Then we have cost, insurance and freight. Similar to CRF, but the seller is responsible for arranging and payment for insurance against the buyer's risk of loss or damage during the transportation. So, in other words, oh, these are the commonly used in international commercial terms in international trade. So, when you are making negotiations in international or buying, it means that you need to consider these terms very carefully for you to take the appropriate decision that can also benefit the organization at large. So today's session will end there, and our next topic will come next time. Thank you.